Yeah, this should be a pretty solid race, all things considered. Sean, more well known for the out of bounds categories, doesn't really play this a whole lot. Simo, as far as I'm aware, a relatively new runner. So, could be interesting to see what happens here. There's a lot of room for mistakes in this run. Being a pretty precise platformer, Metroidvania, lots of combat, a couple bosses that are notorious for giving runners some problems. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and in addition to Simo being a new runner, he's also known for actually creating the Hollow Knight Discord. So a big thanks to him for kind of everything that's been set up and has come out of it. It's been a great Discord to be a part of so far, and they are off. At the beginning of this race, we're going to see Simo's timers start first. That isn't actually a problem. We will base their times on what that timer says at the end of the race. So it's not going to be real time who finished first. It's going to be whichever player's timer is lower at the end. This eliminates loads, so it makes it so if you have a faster PC, it's not an unfair advantage.
Yeah, that's right. In the interest of fairness, that's the way it runs on the leaderboards as well as it'll be running for the race here. So you might see some separation between the runners, and not just here in the early game, but as the race progresses, depending on the power of their computers. So this is the first area here called King's Pass, while they're just kind of doing some of the basic platforming. If you're just joining in on the 90% tournament here, Hollow Knight, like I alluded to earlier, Metroidvania, you've got your health in the top left alongside your mana. In that globe there, which can fill up to 9. Each nail hit does returns 1 soul, and spells cost 3. So a lot of this is going to be around managing soul and managing geo, because they would rather be using that soul or mana for spell damage. When they acquire Vengeful Spirit, that's going to be their main source of damage, which starts at 15 and will eventually be upgraded to 20 with the Shaman Stone Charm.
Yeah, so we're just going to even up the timers here. And actually, really nice synchronized jumping by these two. Should go into the Olympics for this one as we see synchronized timers as well. It's almost the exact same screen here as they fall down the well. Simo is technically behind by, I think, 0.11 seconds, which should make nothing of a difference later on. In this starting area, it's going to be called Forgotten Crossroads in case you can't read Chinese, as I assume the majority of us can't, but I guess I don't really know. It's a pretty basic area. All we're doing here is we're just kind of running around until we get to the boss called False Knight. We can't go to the right now because there are parts blocked off, so we're going to go all the way around to this left, and the first obstacle we face is this Aspid Arena right here.
Yeah, so there's a way that you can do a quick kill method on this by dropping some spikes down on the Aspids. We'll see if either one goes for it. Doesn't look like they will. They'll go for the traditional pogo strats. And it looks like Simo's going to get out just a little bit ahead of Sean. Not too much of a difference right here. Sean's going to have to farm up a little bit more soul, but he'll be able to do that on this mosquito right here. Nope, decides not to. Okay, moving on.
Yeah, our soul for this part of the run, they don't actually have Fireball yet, Vengeful Spirit, which is the spell we'll get a little bit later, so the soul doesn't matter too much right now. To keep an eye on is the Geo. Usually you want a little more Geo than this. 8 versus 7 isn't a big deal, but generally you want to be 10 or above, so we'll see how they go as the run progresses. It's still very early in the Geo counting.
Yeah, so what a lot of this run is going to entail, it's routed primarily, obviously, as well as, getting the skills so that you can beat the game and unlock the Dreamers and all that. It's routed quite tightly around the Geo in terms of acquiring the Shaman Stone, unlocking various toll booths and benches and stag stations, and acquiring the Lantern, which is 1800 Geo. And so there's some pretty specific routing that they're going to be doing. One of the new strats that has been, relatively new, is that you're going to see a little bit later on, perhaps, is hitting the Vengefly King, which will pop a little bit of extra Geo. Part of that is also because we're going to be skipping the Geo that you could acquire here from the False Knight, which we're basically just going to do the first phase and then peace on out. Developer intended skip that allows you to break the wall once he throws his first tantrum here.
Yeah, unfortunately for both Sean and Simo, there is a little time where the False Knight's just kind of sitting there, hitting things with his head out. And it gives you some time to heal without losing any time here. So both of them were actually at 2 HP, and I think Sean got all the way down to 1, but that's not too much of a problem. They can heal right back up. And they're going to be pretty close coming into Ancestral Mound here, where they will get Vengeful Spirit, which will allow them to progress through the game.
Yeah, like was mentioned earlier, that's going to be their main source of damage. Winner of this one, by the way, goes on to face Apocalypse Cow in the next round of the loser's bracket. Well, the loser is out in the double elimination format tournament.
Yeah, it looks like about a 342 for both of them. It might have been more of a 342 for Sean and a 341 for Simo, but again, those times are close enough. We don't really care about the difference between that. What we're going to So we need him to spit a smaller boulder to collect soul off of, and the longer he takes to do that, the more time we lose, and it's just an RNG thing in this run.
Yep, 50-50 chance for the boulder to give you a small boulder or another fireball. And it's sort of one of the early reset points of the run at higher levels on the sheer basis of that RNG that you were talking about. So we'll see what they get here in a moment and see who gets the early lead. This is probably going to be the first separation that we see any distinction of between the two runners.
Yep, Sean will get first spit here, which is what you want to see, and Simo will also get first spit. So no difference there. Both fortunate to get the first spit, and they'll be out. Again, probably around the same time. It looks like Sean has a small lead, probably just from faster movement in Ancestral Mound. Actually, yeah, Simo's at 3 HP, so he will take the bench there to heal. Not something you really want to have to be taking, but for a race, not too big of a deal and a smart decision to take. On the left side of your screen, Sean's going to be coming up to a tall room here. He needs to get 6 hits of soul in this room. We'll see how he does it. The flying enemies are random, so he knows where he can get hits from the enemies on the ground, like these tick-ticks, and this last tick-tick up here. So he will get 6. Not the best way to do it. Kind of bad RNG for him. Now the boulder we were talking about earlier, this is a different boulder. We can just walk to the right and shoot a fireball to the left, and magically the fireball will hit him 4 times and he will be dead, so fortunately we don't need to do the same soul collection. The first fireball skip, Sean will dip a little bit too low. So you saw him shoot a fireball to the right there to keep his height, and Simo will do the same thing, but he shoots the fireball to the left. So 2 ways you can fail that. Either waiting too low till you shoot the fireball, which Sean did, or shooting it to the left, which Simo did, so neither of them will get the skip.
And there's 3 of those skips here on in the early game. The second one is probably the one that costs the most time. So the runners are going to be looking to do a little bit of a safety strat and fire 2 fireballs in order to initiate the knockback that Vengeful Spirit gives you, which is what allows the skip here in the first place. So we'll see how they perform on the second and most important of the 3 skips, and then they will be moving on to fight that little lady in the dress there, Hornet. Pretty much the first sort of challenging fight that you have in this game. Yeah, there's some manipulation that they're going to be doing in order to try and get some double hits with the fireball. With the way that the fireball's hitbox works in this game, if you manage to connect with the hit as an enemy is moving away, sometimes you can get 2, maybe even 3. Ooh, and Sean missing a double fireball there. That is highly unfortunate. That's going to cost him a fair bit of time. And it looks like Simo is going to be taking on a lead here from Sean.
Yeah, another thing that'll cost Sean time is he's going to go for these Geo Rocks here. So this is the old method of collecting Geo. We do need a certain amount to buy things in this run. It is a little bit slower, but a little bit safer, so it will lose him time. But if Simo messes up, then it will actually be saving him time that Sean chose this strategy. Yeah, Sean's something like 10-15 seconds behind now, starting to get a little significant. It really depends on how Simo plays Vengefly King. A good Vengefly King keeps him in a good lead, and a really bad Vengefly King could even put him even or maybe even behind, depending.
Yeah, the goal of the Vengefly fight is to essentially kill him while he's hovering above that top platform, which you're going to see him come up on here, and that way that allows you to collect all the Geo in one go. He gets hit, though, and the Vengefly moves out of position. He drops down, clambers his way back up, gets another fireball in, but falls down again, and he's going to have to chase him off to the left side. Extra scream, losing time. Sean catching up now on the left-hand side of your screen, and the Geo kind of plopping around everywhere, and Simo kind of doing a little bit of some early broom management, if you will, sweeping up those Geo before he moves on to fight Hornet. So fairly close once again here in the early going.
Yeah, the normal advantage of Vengefly King is you actually don't have to get rocks later in the run, but at 192 Geos, Simo might still have to get, actually almost definitely will be getting rocks later, so he kind of lost that advantage that he was going to get otherwise. Now we're going to see them coming up to Hornet. Depends on what pattern she gives them, but honestly there shouldn't be too much of a difference in time in this fight.
No, but Simo does have a 2-second advantage coming in, so it's a pretty slim margin that he has at the moment. Looking to manipulate Hornet. as she jumps over top, getting a couple slashes in, farming up the soul, trying to get some extra double hits. Sean will miss that up slash there, gets the subsequent one, however, and looks like Simo has advanced through the hard fight. Sean's still struggling on the left side, finally bullies her into the corner, and fires an extra fireball, because he can. They're going to save and quit out of here, and then move on to the next part of the run.
Yeah, so it looks like something in the order of 5 seconds. As I'm watching the timer tick, maybe a little more. It looks like just about 5 seconds. In this game, when you quit out, you don't actually lose your progress. You just quit back to the last bench you sat in, or the last hard save that happened. So that will be Ancestral Mound for both of these runners. And from here, it's just faster to get to Fungal. So that's the reason we are quitting out in the first place.
Yeah, if you're familiar with other games, like maybe Ori and the Blind Forest, or Super Metroid, where, or specifically Super Metroid, I guess, where, if you die, you lose all your progress, you go back to your last save. That's not the case here in Hollow Knight. So it is a little bit lenient in that regards, but the runners are going to be pretty deliberate with where they bench in order to try and save time for optimal routing. So any deaths, obviously, as a function of dying, you're going to lose time, but having to still traverse back to the area that you were at is going to be pretty costly as well. So Simo continuing to hold on to the lead here. Sean getting a hard fall there on the left side. Inventory dropping, as you see these runners popping open their inventory in various different places. It cancels out the hard fall animation that you get, and we kind of get stun locked for a second, and it also uncaps your fall speed. So if you're wondering why they're suddenly checking their menus, they aren't really. They're using speed tech.
Yeah, it's going to be... I'm trying to get the times down. It looks like between 5 and 10 seconds, which is cool to see. That's definitely a very close race. It comes from, I think, Sean missing 2 fireball skips in green path, losing some time from that. But Simo really messing up that Vengefly King kill, and it'll kind of even out. And as we'll see here, Simo will go to get these rocks for the extra Geo. So really that Vengefly kill did not work out for him.
All right, moving on to one of the first... the next major skip, rather, the explosion pogo. First try for Simo, very nice. Sean's setting up for it now, and misses it. So what he's trying to do is he's actually trying to pogo off the projectile before it explodes, and then pogo off the hitbox of the explosion as well, which bypasses a sort of circuitous route that you'd have to take to get to the intended way for Mantis Claw. And third try for Sean. So that is going to give Simo a more distinct advantage here in the early going, but he does mess up the Mantis Pogo, so he has to go around here too, and that might even things out again.
Yeah, we might see another case, another area where they both mess up a skip, but they mess up a different skip, and it kind of turns out even. We'll see how Sean does with Mantis Pogo. This doesn't seem like the best setup. He gets damage boost on the right side, though, so it's going to work out. I don't know if that's exactly what he intended, but, if it works, it works. And they will get Claw within about 5 seconds of each other again, so very similar fungal wastes.
Yeah, about a 7-second difference here on the quit out. So Simo still with a little bit of a lead, as we are now going to be heading off to start unlocking some of those dreamers. We're going to require the dream nail, do a little bit of farming, and then after we grab the dream nail, we have to go on and face 2 bosses and then a platforming section in order to access the dreamers and unlock the Black Egg Temple, which is the access to the quote-unquote final boss of the game. And yeah, some more geo farming here, basically in the early going.
Yeah, we're kind of starting to transition. These first few areas, namely Green Path, Fungal Waste, and even Crossroads, have just been to get items for later in the game. So we need that dash for movement. Obviously, it moves a lot faster. We need Claw to access a lot of the Dreamers, and again, for faster movement in some areas. And then we need Fireball for faster boss kills. But now we're transitioning into the next thing they're going to get is going to be Dream Nail. So that is now necessary for game progression. So we're starting to really get into the meat of the game here.
Yeah, and so you've probably noticed a little bit of a trend here with pogoing off things in order to, save some time, do some skips. They're going to be manipulating one of the mechanics of the game, whereupon when you die, it leaves a shade that you have to go back and collect if you want to restore full soul meter and recollect your geo. They're going to take an intentional death and abuse that to pogo off the shade and then bypass that straight into the Blue Lake area in order to acquire Dream Nail. But first, we have to slay this Gruzmother and then clean up the spawn that exudes from her broken corpse. And we'll see whether or not Simo gets a good janitorial services here on the right side. He's going to be the first one through. A little bit of a miss there, and he's got one floating up high. Sean, meanwhile, waiting for the spawns. Will he get a slightly better cleanup? Let's find out. And nice first fireball, good second fireball. Low pattern, he will save a little bit of time there. Nice cleanup by Sean.
Yeah, the cleanup itself, so killing all those little Grez babies, is kind of a mixture of RNG and skill. If you can get the timing down really tight, you're kind of minimizing the amount of RNG. It's a mix. No matter how good you are, you're still going to have some get away from you sometimes. But now we're going to see Simo dashing into these guys. This is intentional damage, as Shafe mentioned earlier. This is to set up the shade skip. To shade skip, we need a shade, and to get a shade, we need to die. So we are taking eventually 5 hits of damage here.
Movement's been pretty similar between the runners from Hornet on here, so the separation hasn't really expanded all that much in favor of Simo, maybe by a second. So while he respawns, he equips the Shaman Stone, goes and attacks the Shade to aggro it over to the right side here, climb up the wall, take the Pogo. Very nice first try from Simo. Sean is going to be following suit quite shortly. On the left-hand side of your screen, takes the slash, gets the Fireball. Nice adaptation there to actually not go for the Pogo while that Fireball occurred, and then try it again. So lost maybe a half a second there or so, and then advances on to the Blue Lake as well.
Yeah, unfortunate. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
All right. So an unfortunate Fireball there for Sean. It is just RNG. There's nothing you can really do about it. There's a few points of RNG just in this split in general. They're kind of subtle. You might not notice them as a newer runner, but as you start to improve your pace, you definitely start seeing it. Anyway, Simo will be entering the dream sequence here, excuse me.
So regarding the question in chat between some of the routing options that we've got here, Kurash has answered it correctly. Is mid-tier. We could go and do that instead of getting C-Dash, but for one, C-Dash is fast. It launches you across the screen until you decide to cancel it or bonk into a wall, and also allows you to traverse great gaps. But also it's just faster to go get, which is partly why we have routed in the Geo in such a way that we have, is to acquire the Lantern, which is 1800 Geo. It's a hard lock in terms of accessing Crystal Peaks. The little toll gate entrance thingy there will not let you access it unless you have Lantern in your inventory. So required to go get C-Dash for that reason alone.
Yeah, and kind of counterintuitively, even though both runners are getting Dash very early in this run, Dash is not technically required for any percent. It is much, much faster than the alternative, which is walking around everywhere and doing some really strange Fireball skips to sequence break into areas. But you don't need it, and the low percent run actually does not get it. Either way, both of them are going to get Dreamnail here. A 42 for Simo. It's almost the same for Sean. They're definitely neck and neck here. It's going to come down to City. It looks like Sean is just trailing a few seconds behind here.
It's a 45 on the Road Rash version of the vessel there. He's getting along the floor. Just a little bit of speed tech there to dash basically before the cutscene fully unloads, and that allows you to get moving a little bit earlier. So,
yep, then a 55 from Sean. So about a 10-second difference here, but City of Tears movement is definitely somewhere where the runners could differentiate. And then Watcher Knights, especially the boss kind of at the end of this upcoming area, is a huge obstacle for really all runners, new runners and veterans alike. And that's going to be a big deal to see how their times diverge.
Yeah, so a lot of what City of Tears is here is going to be geo collection. You're going to see them pick up some relics and then go talk to Lem in order to get him back in his shop, and then sell the relics to him for a boatload of geo. And also dancing around these enemies in some pretty tight corridors takes some practice getting used to in order to do so without taking much in the way of damage, hopefully none for the most part. And yeah, so it's sort of deceptively one of the tougher parts of the run. I would say shortly followed by Crystal Peaks, but led, no question, by Beast's Den in terms of difficulty for platforming.
Yeah, and something interesting for geo routing, generally at this point, we have much less geo. After you buy Shaman Stone, you're expected to have 0 or very little. I think these runners were in the 20s and 30s, so we'll see if they kind of take that into account and maybe collect less geo because they have more than they need, or if they're kind of just used to their own paths and they're not going to diverge too much, maybe ending up with a little bit extra.
Yeah,
right here is good.
It wouldn't be too surprising for them to stay within just kind of what they're familiar with on the basis that it's a race environment. They probably don't want to get out of their comfort zone and maybe think too much on their feet and get distracted by it. So I wouldn't be too surprised to see them kind of just go as they usually would.
Yeah, and something they certainly do not have enough geo to skip is this. This is Gorgeous Husk right here, and he will drop a whopping 420 geo, so even with 20 and 30 extra, certainly not enough to skip this. It's a bit of an annoying fight. You can kind of get trolled if you get doubles or not, but definitely necessary for the routing.
Yeah, you saw them try and manipulate there once again the double hits by firing the fireballs when the Gorgeous Tusk was moving away, and that is going to be a continuing theme, particularly in the Hollow Knight, the Watcher Knight fight, and the Hollow Knight fight as well, I suppose. But with the Watcher Knights, we got two bosses on screen in the second and third phases. They definitely want to try and get in as many hits as possible with a single fireball. Meanwhile, Simo very nice on the lever skip, dodging the Robbies there.
Yeah, well, what happened with Simo actually is he missed the input at the very beginning to pogo off a statue, so he activated one of them too early, so really good improvisation there by Simo to not get hit and to get into that dark room pretty early. He's going to be coming up to Watcher Knights. We'll see what time exactly he breaks the Chandelier right about now. That's going to be a 32. Sean should be behind, but again, probably about that 10-second deficit, which could very much change at Watcher Knights.
Alright, so this is the Watcher Knights. If you played this game, you are very, very familiar with this boss. Very difficult. Took me on the order of like 90 minutes to beat once. Probably somewhere in there. Get the Chandelier to kill one of the Watcher Knights ahead of time. Pro tip for you. Which allows you to just face one Watcher Knight in the first phase, and then you have to face off against the pairs in the second and third phases. So Simo's now moving on to the second phase, while Sean is starting the first. And pretty clean first phase from Simo.
Yeah, the big thing to watch here is going to be the HP. Simo's still at 4, Sean's still at, well, 4 now as well. But we've seen in a lot of these races, especially in these loser bracket races, you very much can die to Watcher Knights. If you're going to die anywhere, it's probably to Watcher Knights, in fact, and it happens. Now only at 2 HP, and he has 2 more to go. He's going to heal one here and be at 3 for the third phase. Not really comfortable, but definitely a doable fight. Sean, on the other hand, still at 4 HP.
Yeah, he took the smart play there to heal in between the phases. It is extremely difficult to heal mid-fight. So nice little sort of heads-up play there from Simo, manipulating the Watcher Knights into the corner. Gets one fireball off, jumping over, misses that fireball, unfortunately. I'm not sure it even hit the second one that was off screen there. A little bit of getting away from him a little bit, right side of your screen, but now it seems like he is back under control. Nice parry pogo there, if you will. And he cleans it up with 2 HP, and looks like about 3 soul remaining. He's going to be opening the gate at about 19-13.
Yeah, not a clean fight from either of them. Not very fast, and Sean's going to have kind of an awkward fight here because he actually killed one of the first 2 knights much earlier than the other one, which leaves them staggered. They're not really spawning 2 at a time anymore. Down to 2 HP, but I believe both of them are pretty low here, so I don't think he'll have too much problem finishing it off. Definitely a slower fight than Simo's, though. There's still 2 left. He's really having trouble finishing these guys off.
Yeah, I think Sean at this point is more concerned about staying alive, which is definitely a viable strat in a race situation. Dying would cost him a lot more time than just playing it a little bit safe, and he does manage to clean up the Watcher Knights. No extra soul, doesn't matter, going to be heading into a dream sequence. 1950 thereabouts, so you're looking at roughly a 37-second difference right now between the runners. Still pretty close, all things considered, given that we're about halfway through the run.
So Sean and Simo will both be doing the same things, just in a different order here. Sean is collecting a mass amount of geo here, 620 to be exact right now, and a relic to sell for more geo. Simo will opt to go to the Dreamer first and then pick up that geo. So again, it's not going to make much of a difference. It's just a little bit harder for us to tell who exactly is ahead right now. But my bet's on Simo.
All right, so continuing the cleanup phase of City of Tears here, gathering some more geo in order to get that lantern. We're pretty much just going to be doing a little bit of farming here right now, but the platforming optimally is pretty precise to do. I would argue, like you said, Simo's probably got a little bit of an advantage. Not that Sean's inexperienced at running this game or anything, but just a little bit more familiarity for the category on Simo's side, I think.
Yeah, and we'll really be seeing the time difference in that Watcher Knights fight. Simo is already out of this area and onto the bridge at 2040, and Sean is at 2046 and still only at Lurien. So that's going to be approaching like a 30-second difference, I would guess. Although that's not how you gate storage, Simo. Yeah, for the most part, the runners have been pretty similar. We've seen like one mistaken green path from each runner, one mistaken fungal from each runner. No huge setbacks. And then fairly slow Watcher Knight fights by both of their standards. I'm sure neither of them are terribly happy with that. But it looks like Simo's was a little bit cleaner than Sean's.
Yeah, it's kind of a little bit difficult, the difference between doing PB attempts and in a race situation, because in a PB attempt you have a fight like that, if you expect better of yourself, you probably just reset, clear your mind, and go forward. But in a race situation, you just kind of have to put it out of your mind immediately. You can't worry about the fight you had. You got to focus on what's coming up next. So there's a little bit of a test of mental fortitude in a race situation like this, and it's still pretty close. Like we said, within about 40 seconds of each other or so. So that mental aspect could still very much come into play.
For sure. Yeah, it makes it a different skill set, honestly. Like racing versus PB attempts. I mean, it's definitely like it's like a don't mess up thing in a race. That's kind of your main priority. Whereas in a PB attempt, if you mess up, you're resetting anyway. So the PB attempt is just play as aggressively as I can and hope I don't die.
Yeah, pretty much.
Anyway, we'll see Sean trailing in Simo's footsteps here. They're talking to Lem, selling these relics. They want to be at 23-22, I believe, at this point. As you see, Simo is well over it at 23.39, so he's over 15 geo over. Somehow Sean is under, which surprises me because I know he had pretty high geo going in, so I guess he really just was not collecting. He will need just 2 more geo, but where he gets that 2 more geo is not the easiest question.
I wouldn't be surprised if he just makes a quick pit stop somewhere. It's not like 2 geo is incredibly hard to farm, but it is sort of inconvenient. You don't want to be using your fireballs for it or wasting time doing nail hits kind of thing. You want to try and make it on your way as much as possible, and at this point, as they're going to be traversing towards Crystal Peaks after buying the lantern, it's not the most convenient thing to try and route in, but I'm sure he's well aware and paying attention to it. Nice sort of little double wall kick there.
I hope he's well aware and paying attention. I'm not too convinced, because he definitely could have gotten some fireballs off on the way out here. He only needs 2 geos, so... Oh my goodness, Sean, what are you doing? So it's not the biggest deal. Even if he forgets to grab it, he can always get it at the end of the game. Sean will intentionally take some spike damage there to stop the timer and cheat his way to victory.
Maybe he's validating his run. All right, so this is the scurry look down from Simo on the right side. Turns out if you look down after opening a toll, it saves a little bit of time. Scurry look downs in chat.
Yeah, and if anyone asks why that is, we really have no idea. We just know that if you're healing or if you look down while accessing a toll or right after accessing the toll, the game will speed up for the next either stag coming out or the next gate opening. And it really makes no sense. That's how it works.
It is a thing that occurs, and sometimes, sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic, and also just confusing technology is indistinguishable from magic as well. So that's sort of the fun and beauty of video games. Just things happen, and sometimes we don't know why. So this is Crystal Peaks now on Simo's side. Probably, arguably, one of the more fun, I would say, platforming areas. Some fairly precise movements and damage boosting that you can do. And yeah, just overall good tunes and good platforming, good time here.
Sean is not having a good time here. He's actually getting destroyed by these adult venge flies here. This room can be annoying. All you have to do is get up this wall, but it's not the easiest with those crazy infected venge flies coming after you, and Sean can attest to that. He probably lost, I don't know, 30 seconds, somewhere to a minute, just from those guys trolling him and having to go in and out of room transitions. Simo's almost at the end of Crystal Peaks here. This is the last little gauntlet. He's going to intentionally take some damage to go through here faster.
Yeah, and that is specifically to set up a jump stall dash, which you're going to be seeing here in a little moment. That cycle right there, does he go under the platform? Yes, he does. What a legend. Pogax from Sean, meanwhile, on the left-hand side. All right, he wins. We're done. Have a nice night, guys.
Yeah, so Sean will lose about 30 seconds in that infected crossroad room, but he will save 2 seconds from Pogax, so he is definitely ahead here.
Yeah, clearly. That's about a 25, well, actually 25 flat Crystal Heart from Simo, so we'll get a pretty good idea of the differentiation here between the runners in just a moment.
Yeah, we're probably at about a minute difference now, so Sean not out of the running even if Simo doesn't make mistakes. If Sean just plays incredibly well endgame, he could catch back up, but he's probably hoping that Simo has some kind of a mistake coming up here, and Umu is the time where you could make a mistake.
Yeah, Umu is possible to 2-cycle, but does not like to cooperate a lot of the time and will give you some extra attacks, which cost time, and depending on your skill level, you might miss damage on a cycle, and it can really eat up a chunk of a run. It is a reset position for sure, in a lot of categories, honestly, in this game, but particularly in any percent, just because of how short the run is and how much time Umu can eat up, usually to the order of about 40 seconds, depending.
And coming up to Umu, we'll actually see Simo have a lot of trouble. He's going to get hit in a room that's largely RNG. He's going to hit it 3 times. He's going to hit another time here. If he dies here, he's losing a lot of time to having run this whole gauntlet again. So he'll heal once for safety. My guess is he'll also take the bench in Teacher's Archives, but this is kind of what Sean needs to catch back up. Simo's taking, I think, 5 hits on this journey to Umu so far. Really not what you want to see.
He's just running into everything. As of Crystal Heart, it was about a 1 and 2 second difference, but yeah, that is definitely going to catch some time up for Sean, as well as a little bit of a flub there coming up to the archive bench. And yeah, so Simo playing it a little bit safe with Umu. He knows what's up. He knows where his possible trouble spot is in a race situation here. So don't blame him for taking that bench at all. And we're going to see the floating jellyfish of RNG Fest Doom / we hate him, her. It's a thing.
Yep, this is Umu, and the whole issue with Umu is you can't actually hit him, her, it, or whatever it is. While it is in its outer shell, we have to wait for Quarrel to come break the shell. Quarrel, unfortunately, does not realize we're doing a speedrun and kind of takes his sweet time, so we're just praying he comes as early as possible. Preferably after 3 attacks for this first cycle and 2 for the second. Also, Sean getting an acid dunk on the left side.
Second try here. Looks like he's got a cleaner setup there. Yeah, so this is a bit of time, not too much. Meanwhile, looks like he might get... Yeah, it looks like he got full damage on that first cycle. So.
No, he's going to miss... He just missed 1 nail hit, so he didn't have the last fireball. He's a little bit low. He can't actually get a 2-cycle at this point. You do need to be quite literally perfect in damage to get a 2-cycle, and some runner is going to correct me in chat and saying technically Logan something XD cycles, whatever. I don't care.
Different category.
Different category. So Simo does get a lot of damage on both cycle. Again, not perfect, so it's going to be a 3-cycle. I would be extremely surprised for him to miss this 3rd cycle, though. So overall, in a race, 3-cycle, I'll take it.
Yeah, a lot of runners, even top caliber runners, the Fireborn, Scurry, Visuals, Pestilent Box type runners, they would probably be happy with a 3-cycle race situation Umu fight, honestly.
I don't know if they'd be happy.
Okay, well, they would be willing to put it out of their minds in short order.
Yeah, okay. I'll take that one. I'll take that one. Different runners would be different levels of happy on that, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, Sean's going to be trying to go for the same thing. Swinging his sword to the beat is always a good strategy. Umu's a little high here. When Umu's this high, there's a good chance he'll get a 4th attack, which not only wastes time, but also makes it harder to set up the cycle. He won't, though. Just 3. Come on, Quarrel. There you go. This looks a little better. Nope. He'll do the same thing Simo did, actually. It's really tight to get those nail inputs in time, and both of them just a little bit slow, so they couldn't get that last nail hit. So Sean, again, will now be looking for a 3-cycle.
Yeah, there's a very specific rhythm in order to get maximum damage that you have to sort of alternate between your nail hits and your fireball that turns out to be slightly faster than just trying to do like a straight up alternating, sort of musical 1-1-1-1 rhythm type deal. It's it takes some adjusting to get used to, that's for sure. So that's part of the reason it makes it so difficult to get all the damage in 2-cycle the boss.
Yeah, for sure. And it was definitely unforgiving about it. Sean having trouble with that 2nd cycle there. You'll see him not getting much damage. So he's on maybe a 3-cycle. We'll see here what he can do. This does not look like a good start. Oh, and he'll hit a fireball right into the platform. So now we're waiting on 4-cycle for Sean. Unfortunate for him. Simo definitely has a lead here.
Yeah, and unfortunately at this point in the run, actually, there isn't a whole lot that is going to be standing in Simo's way from victory. I mean, Beast Den can obviously give you a whole boatload of crap. And
what is Simo doing?
He's
what?
Refilling his health?
He had full health, right? What was that bench, Simo?
Question mark?
Is he that afraid of QGA? Maybe.
Okay,
That's quite a
I
bet.
mean, sure. It is probably one of the most precise skips in the game, so
Well, this is QGA. Simo going for second try here. He'll cling onto the wall on the left side. There you go. He'll get it. So he didn't need to be too afraid there. He'll dunk the first time. It's a precise skip. You have to cling onto the wall and crystal dash over the acid. I don't know, that bench still baffles me. I'm sorry.
oh, I mean, when you're afraid of a like what 3 pixel window or whatever ridiculous obnoxious thing it is, you know, maybe he just kind of got in his own head for a second there. No big deal. He moves on, second try QGA. He'll probably be satisfied with that in any situation. This arena can
Bad
be a
start.
little bit obnoxious. Yeah, he doesn't have enough souls for a quick cleanup here, so he's kind of got to
Yep.
just do nail strats, unfortunately. We'll lose a bit of time. But yeah, Beast Den is dangerous. It's tight quarters with spooky spiders and devouts that can deal 2 damage to you if you fail your damage tank strats and all that stuff. So entirely possible to see a death in Beast Den, but I would argue sort of the difficult part of the run is more or less done once you get past QGA.
I don't know.
Depending, like I don't know. It's tough to, for me. It feels like you're on the home stretch kind of deal. I don't
Dude,
know.
I never feel on the home stretch. I'm constantly scared.
Fair
I
enough.
don't know.
Fair enough.
Different runners definitely have different parts that they're good at, and for sure QGA is kind of the last huge obstacle for a lot of runners. Like Shape is saying, I'm just giving him a hard time, but there's definitely still possibilities to get hit a lot, lose a lot of time, and even die here at the end of the run.
Mhm.
Sean is just kind of sitting there. Great dream mail, Sean. I don't. Oh, is he going deep nest? Yo, Sean's confused. Okay, Sean's getting it sorted out.
You'll get there eventually, right? Okay, so second try for him as well. Maybe a bit low. Yeah, couldn't quite get the wall cling on the other side.
Yeah, even if you get that wall cling and can crystal dash over, it's still really hard. QGH, we're actually saying QGA. It's Queen's Guarded Acid. I'm sorry. It's a it's an abbreviation we're used to. This is the acid skip that they're doing right now, where they're just dashing over the Queen's Garden acid. Anyway, or in Sean's case, trying to dash over. He's having a lot of trouble with it. Hopefully this one. There we go, Sean.
Did lose a reasonable amount of time to it though, as Simo is now in the distant village, entering Beast Den, sitting on the trap bench. Will he get the music glitch? He will not. No. If you hold right, turns out this little music, sort of creepy dollhouse type music, will continue on until the Hollow Knight fight, pretty much. Simo not going for it. Recently discovered, just kind of a cute little thing, doesn't cost or lose any time.
Yeah, so Simo just has this last area called Beast Den to go through, and then he'll have the final Hollow Knight fight. Sean still has the entirety of Queen's Gardens to traverse, so he really needs Simo to make a mistake, and probably even needs a death from Simo at this point. That's a weird and not very good Mantis start. We'll get it, though.
So the devout that Simo just killed on the right-hand side of your screen, there's going to be a strat coming up a little bit where, well, potentially anyway, he's on 2 health now. You probably won't go for it, but you can damage tank. Like, the contact damage will do 1, and if the devout's claws get you, it does 2 damage. So for a little bit of speed, we'd try and damage boost through the devout. But I don't know if he's going to be... Well, he's farmed up a little... Nope, never mind. Took a hit on a spider. Question marks. Saves the grub, though, the hero.
Yeah, that grub is not required to save, but we will forever hate you if you do not save it. He doesn't have full soul here, so he's probably going to take a little bit of a safer approach to this devout. He's also in enough of a lead where I think it's the smart idea to just play this safe, dash away from those scary claws, and he should be fine here. Needs a hit and a fireball. Oh, that was scary.
He should be fine. Meanwhile.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, the claws there, if you dash into the devout, you only take 1 hit of damage, which is why we do it. If you just hit his hitbox, if he hits you with those claws he's slashing with, you take 2 masks of damage. And that is the amount of masks that Simo was at, so a little bit scary there. Rob is right. You actually must save the grub. It's required.
Mm-hmm. So this is the last Dreamer that we will unlock or unseal from the Black Egg as they protect and seal the Radiance within the Hollow Knight. Spoiler alert, you should probably have played this game by this point, honestly.
Yeah. You've watched 3 Dreamers, you've really gotten spoiled already.
Yeah, we're deep enough into this tournament, we're presuming you know at least a little bit. And now it's off to fight the Hollow Knight and finish the game, so I forgot to mark what time Sean was at the trap bench. I'll have to get a different time marker here. He's probably close to 2 minutes now.
Yeah, it's going to be 2 minutes or more behind at this point. Probably a little bit over, actually. Their timers, their in-game timers are like neck and neck, though. They've had very even loads throughout this, which is nice to see, especially in a closer race. Simo's doing his best to make this not too close of a race, though, so might not matter too much.
There's the trap bench. 34, actually, so exactly 2 minutes as of that trap bench.
Nice. Simo's going to wail away at this bell to summon the stag. He's going to take this back to Dirtmouth, which is the first, or excluding King's Pass, the first area that we saw, and he will fight the Hollow Knight, which actually has been at the very beginning of the game the whole time. Missing that jump again, though. Simo's having trouble with that one.
Go a little crystal dash, go to the Forgotten Crossroads, into the Black Egg Temple, and begin the Hollow Knight. It's going to take at least one death in order for Sean to have a chance at this point. And it would have to be a death pretty late in the fight as well, I would argue, in order for him to be able to catch up. Keep it in the race, though.
Yeah, this is where it really matters if Simo's watching the other stream or not. Because if Simo sees this stream, he knows he just needs to beat the Hollow Knight. That's it. He doesn't need to do any crazy damage strats. If he doesn't, he might think that he actually needs to go a bit faster here. Sean, how did you get hit by that? Yeah, so fortunately, this is Sean's audio that we're listening to, and Sean did do the music glitch, so we get to hear this goofy music as he traverses through spiders that want to kill him. Saves the grub.
Heals.
Sean?
Oh!
Sean! Well, now I'm happy that Sean's going to be out of this race. Thank God.
Stood in front of the grub and BM'd it, healed, and then walked away. Wow, that's rude. Simo, meanwhile, in the Hollow Knight fight on the right-hand side of your screen, looking to avoid as many parries as possible. He will actually try to not attack the Hollow Knight during a parry because it loses time, and is looking to get fireballs in as the Hollow Knight moves away from him in order to try and get double hits. Doesn't seem to honestly be too concerned about that at this point. He's just slamming nails and fireballs in all willy-nilly. Looking to try and close this race out. It's entirely possible he could be watching, knows how far ahead he is, and is just kind of coasting on now. Bullying the Hollow Knight into the corner as Hera is wrapped up on Sean's side.
He could PB. Simo could PB here. It's tight, but he definitely could.
What was...
His PB's 37 even.
37 flat, right? Yeah.
Oh, this isn't even the last... Okay, I take that back. He could. It would have to be insane, though. It's definitely not a gimme here. Could Sean PB? What's Sean? Oh, yeah, Sean could PB. Sean's is 40-26. So with a decent Hollow Knight fight, Sean actually PBs here. Oh, Simo's low. This is a hard one to dodge, too. This could be huge. If Simo gets hit here. Simo's just running. He does get hit when we have a race.
Oh, wow.
So Simo not playing it safe. I don't know if he has the stream open. Definitely not playing it safe there, and he still has an advantage. As you'll see with the time here, he is going to get into the Hollow Knight fight first. It's going to be about a minute or a minute plus of an advantage, but definitely not something that he wanted. And also, obviously, the PB is gone.
Yeah, the PB is rip. I'm pretty sure that is not even on his mind at this point.
Oh, no.
Even if he was considering it, it's totally just, no, he wants to get through this fight and get through it alive. As Sean is going to be heading off to the Hollow Knight fight himself. His PB actually, I believe, came in his first round race.
You are correct.
And that was a 40-26. I don't know if it's within striking distance for him.
Oh, yeah.
We've got 3 minutes.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't make too many gaffes, he should be okay.
Simo's getting a lot of parries. The Hollow Knight's trying to make it interesting, but Simo's having none of it. He is not getting hit this time. I bet he heals here. I mean, if he knows his lead, he'll heal. He's not healing. I don't think he has the stream open. I think I 100% would have healed there if I knew where Sean were at.
I disagree. If I knew Sean was entering the Hollow Knight fight, I probably would have continued to play it aggressive.
Oh, 2 HP, man. This is scary. And this is the attack that got him last time. Okay, he's not even going to go for damage here. He's just trying to survive.
He gets hit again. No, Simo, no.
He does not have soul to heal. Heal, bud. Heal. Okay, run.
He manages to get a heal off. He's back up to 2 HP as the Hollow Knight is bouncing around over top of him, trying to get some up slashes in order to gather some soul, throw some more fireballs. Slam down attack with the Pillars of Fire coming up. Simo getting more slashes in, more fireballs as Sean is beginning. It's down for me too. Ah! Okay, we're back. Lagging! Okay, Simo, 2 HP, full cell though. Looks like he's on the last phase.
Dude, what's happening?
My frames are dropping. Okay, I think I'm back in. Alright, 38-30. Yeah, okay, so... Whew. Simo will take it. He will take the victory and he will advance on to face Apocalypse Cow in the next round of the loser's bracket. Sean, meanwhile, left-hand side, bopping his way around the Hollow Knight.
Not the cleanest win, but it definitely mattered that time save that he had earlier. I mean, there was a lot of movement that he did better than Sean, a little bit faster, and it added all up. And it really paid off with that last death to the Hollow Knight there.
Yeah, if he didn't get all those small advantages over the course of the run, it definitely would have been a much tighter race on the sheer basis of that death to Hollow Knight. As it stands, it's only going to be 30 seconds, maybe a minute. No, probably closer to a minute by the time the final animation plays out.
Dude, I want Sean to get the sub 40. I'm not sure if he will. Sean, why are you healing? Come on.
Extra Fireball is in, does take a charging dash strike thrust from the Hollow Knight. Takes another hit off of a backhand slash. Farms up souls, gonna get the stagger and heal. Back up to 4 HP, relatively comfortable at this point in the fight.
I think Scream Skip gets him the win. Or, not the win, the PB. Or the sub 40. Do it, Sean. Scream Skip. Sean! No. Dude, I'm disappointed in Sean. Sub 40.
So, if you jump into the Hollow Knight while he's screaming there, it will actually re-enable your control of the vessel and allow you to continue attacking.
Thanks for explaining, by the way, where I'm just whining about Sean. I think he PBs. He gets a PB, which is nice here. He definitely could have gotten the sub 40. He played a super... What am I trying to say? Super conservative on that last fight, unfortunately. But, yeah, good on him for finishing. Good on him for the PB.
That's almost going to be 30 seconds for him. If he had just a little bit of a cleaner fight there, like you said, yeah, probably would have been 30 seconds. As it stands, going to be 40:08, beating his previous best of 40:26. So despite being knocked out of the tournament here, GG to Sean for sure for putting on another race PB in a category he barely even touches while Simo advances on to the next round.
Yeah, so we'll see if we can get Simo in here for that. I'm really curious to know if he had the stream open and if he did kind of his decision on how safe to play that last fight, because it definitely got scary when he got into Hollow Knight fight number 2. Oh, and we do have Simo.
Hey, guys. Simo. Congratulations on the win and advancing on to face Apocalypse Cow. How'd you feel about that performance?
It was not too bad. Unfortunately, I died to the Hollow Knight. And then my second fight wasn't clean as well, but it was pretty good, I guess. I was happy with the run.
Did you have the stream open at all? Palm was curious about that.
I was.
Oh, no. When I do the races, I do a blind, so then I tune in after and see the surprise at the end. Did I win or did I lose? But
oh my god. Dude, that's too stressful for me.
It makes it interesting for me, I think. If I know how the other play is going, I think it might alter the way I play, maybe. No, not really, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, because when you were in that first Hollow Knight fight, right, you definitely had, what did we decide it was? Something like a 2+2.5 minute lead?
Yeah, it was almost 2 even, yeah.
Oh, about 2 even. You had about a 2-minute lead on Sean, so if you played that first fight a lot safer, you certainly had it in the bag. But it's definitely the runner's choice. Yeah. Runner's choice if you have the stream open or not.
Yeah. It's funny, going into Hollow Knight, I was actually only 20 seconds behind my PB. And then I'm looking at my splits now and they're not very pretty, but could have been a PB actually if I'd got Mantis Pogo. Yeah.
What was your I was curious, what was your Hera time?
33:33.
Well, that's hard to PB with.
Oh, I wouldn't have PB, but if I got Mantis Pogo, then I would have, yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, both of you were actually pretty even up until the beginning of the Watcher Knights fight. You both had a little bit of a mistake in Green Path, yours being the Vengefly King, obviously not the cleanest. And then Mantis Pogo. I think Sean messed up... What did Sean... I don't remember at all. Sean messed up Explosion Pogo a couple times, and I forget what he did in Green Path.
Oh, wow, yep. I'll have to go back and watch the VOD after this, yeah, for sure.
Oh, he missed 2 fireball skips, right? Yeah, he missed 2 fireball skips and went for the rocks geo route.
Ah, yep. Yeah, that's safe. Yeah.
Well, GG to you. I'll see if Sean wants to get in here. My guess is no, but we can try.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Tagging Sean.
I'm trying. I'm doing my best.
I think he ran
I
off.
think he might be out. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, GG to you, Simo.
Yep.
Thank you, and thanks for commentating as well, guys. I have to
Yeah.
listen to it again.
Not a problem.
Thanks for having us. All right, so that wraps up this race. We are going to be in the middle of scheduling subsequent races, so we don't have future race times for you quite at the moment, as we're going to be advancing now to the next round of matches. So thanks for watching. Appreciate you having here. GG to both Sean and Simo. Sean for the PV and Simo for advancing on. My name is Shafe. Co-commentator is Palm. See you next time.
See you guys.
Thank you, everyone.